Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Six Bugle Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Ruiz, and host, Christy Hensler. Christy, how are you?
I am fabulous. I realize I always say great, so I have to think of other adjectives. So
Great's
I'm
okay.
feeling
Great.
empowered this morning.
Oh, ooh,
So
okay. So now we're going to count the different words you use on each time.
okay. I'll get the dictionary out.
I'm sure you have a wealth of information in your head of different words that you can use. So not worried about that at all. All right. So doing some great things with the Six Bugle conferences, both in Wisconsin and Ohio. We're getting a lot of registrations already. So looking forward to that. People are getting excited about joining us. We have Perrysburg, Ohio on September 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then La Crosse, Wisconsin on September 24th, 25th, and 26th. And they were so excited about joining us last year. They wanted to have their own conference, and we said we were happy to oblige and to spread our wings and go out to different states and hopefully this will be something new that we can do in other states in the future. I'm already looking at Virginia, so there's looking like there could be a possibility there, but let's take care of 2024 first and really pour our hearts into these two conferences. So pretty much already set. There is one that's still yet to confirm a guest speaker. I'm not going to say who it is because it's going to be a very special surprise, but they're confirming their schedule. And we also have Brecken Tinney who's going to be joining us. She's going to be talking about ergonomics from Athletico Physical Therapy. We also have Jonathan Downs, who is an attorney he's going to talk about legal issues and the dealing with the fire service and throughout the country, issues that you may be concerned about, issues that you should be aware of because it's a trend that he's going to talk about. We're also going to talk about how we can use AI in your workspace. And we also have Dr. Latif that's going to be talking about what is culinary medicine. She's got some great information about how to use food for your health and maybe even possibly replace some of the medications that you're taking. So that's exciting. And I got the chance to see her a while back ago, and she's very, very dynamic, very good information. So you're gonna love her talking. We also have Christy coming back talking about on Friday, talking about supercharging your relational and emotional IQ. That's on Friday, September 6th, and those are events for Ohio. Events for La Crosse, we're going to have Tracy Toffner. It's going to be from Industrial and Tactical Medicine. Some of you from Wisconsin are probably familiar with her. She's a dynamic speaker, going to be talking about how to maintain your physical health and for sedentary positions. We are also going to introduce you to the leadership game, John Maxwell game that talks about communication, and it's kind of a fun way to learn about different ways that we communicate with each other. And I will also bring the AI skills to Wisconsin. And we also have a very special guest, Milwaukee Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky, who's going to be talking about working together with the sworn and non-sworn employees and how they can work together and rely on each other. And also, we will have a special guest, Thomas Thibodeau, talking about being your best you. And if you're from Wisconsin, you probably heard of Thomas, and a very dynamic speaker and motivational speaker that's very, very popular in that area. And then, of course, Christy's going to be bringing your supercharging your relationship, your relational and emotional IQ. The other thing we have is we're going to be going on the La Crosse Queen Cruises. It's part of your package. So that's going to be exciting to get together afterwards and enjoy the beautiful river there. That's very scenic and get a chance to network with each other and enjoy the beautiful scenery on the riverboat. So hopefully you don't get seasick, Christy.
No, I don't. It should be a beautiful time of year too.
Yeah, yeah. The
No, no
winds will be
seasick for
changing by
me.
then, and hopefully
Yeah.
Martha's already looking at blankets, so maybe we'll hand out some blankets
It
to
sounds like
everybody.
my mom. I'm like, she's like down here with the sweater. I'm like, mom, it's 95 degrees. Right? You do not need that sweater.
Right, right. Now she's looking forward to
Oh,
that, and of course she's
awesome.
got a lot of goodies that she's planning for you all. So we're really for both states actually. So
Yes,
Yeah,
Martha's always behind the scenes doing all this special
she
stuff.
does everything. She does, yeah.
She's not going to want it, but we're going to acknowledge her at these conferences. Don't tell her.
She never wants it.
Okay,
She
I
never,
know.
she gets all embarrassed by it, but people do love her as much as I do. So yeah, that's she does a great job. And she loves it.
Yes.
She loves doing
Sh-
it. All right, so today I'd like to talk about acknowledging your humanness. Last time we got together, I mentioned a new book called from John Maxwell called High Road Leadership. And the other chapter that kind of fascinated me was called Acknowledge Your Humanness. Now, if you remember the last time we talked about how we need to value each other. And Christy elaborated a little more on how important that is, and she will provide you with some tools at our next two conferences on how you can do that. But this time I want to talk about you and yourself and evaluating, acknowledge your humanness and understand that you are a human being and you are with flaws, and but you also have skills too. And so long as you understand that there's going to be times where you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be times where you fall short, and that's okay. What's important is that you pick yourself back up and you continue to do the job that you're meant to do, and not just for yourself, but for the people that are counting on you. So, first thing I want to talk about is see yourself. Develop self awareness by understanding your strengths, weaknesses, feelings, thoughts, and values. If you understand those things and give yourself a little bit of space so that you can um, acknowledge that all these things are a part of your life and give yourself some room because sometimes we're our worst critic, right? Whenever we fall
Mhm.
short, we beat ourselves up and man, why did you do that? Or we're human beings, we make mistakes. You know, the first person that needs to forgive you is you, right? And understand that there are circumstances that don't fit the need right away, and there are some times where you don't fulfill what you're trying to accomplish. So understand that. When we see ourselves clearly, we are more confident and more creative. So there's a lot of noise that we're surrounded by, right? There's a lot of things going on social media and television and radio when you're driving. You know, there's a lot of things going on, but you got to clear all that fogginess and understand that if we see ourselves clearly, we understand things more, and then we become more confident and in some cases more creative. And when that happens, we things tend to go a little bit smoother, tend to go a little bit easier. So give yourself a break and just stop and say, let me clear out all this noise. And what is this really trying to tell me? And I've always said that whenever I make a mistake, the first question I ask is, what is this trying to tell me? One, it was a dumb mistake, probably. Yes, yes, I make those. I'm a human being. What do I need to learn from this? Not just don't ever do it again, Rudy, because this is really dumb. But what do you learn from this? How can you make things better the next time? How can you avoid being in a situation like that ever again, right? So that you can avoid that situation. Give yourself some self-compassion. Now, self-compassion is not about letting yourself off the hook for difficult emotions and mistakes. It's about acknowledging your thoughts of life, your tough parts of life, and giving yourself the love you need to keep going. Because there's only one you, and if you beat yourself up, you might get to the point where you're gonna dig a hole that you can't get yourself out of. So we certainly don't want that. That's what we're all about, right, Christy? We're all about helping
Mhm.
you and giving you the tools that you need in order to get out of those certain situations to help yourself and so that you can use those tools to help your family, help your loved ones, help the people that you work with, because ultimately it's about helping others, and that's what we're all about. So make sure you give yourself some space. Acknowledge your humanness. Acknowledge that you are going to make mistakes, and maybe you made some real doozies, but understand that that's just part of life, and
Mhm.
give yourself a break because it's probably not as bad as you think. And just because you think people are going to judge you wrong, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't really matter on the great grand scheme of things, you know. But I remember when I was at a conference with John Maxwell, and one of the speakers was Deion Sanders, and he said, when we asked him, so what do you think about all, and I don't know if you're familiar with Deion Sanders, a football player, but also played baseball. It's kind of as a sports commentator, but he had a lot of critics. And because he was very bold and brash, and he had a lot of critics. And we asked him, so what do you do about that? What do you say to your critics? And he said, the first thing I think about is my critics have critics too. So why should I give them any strength over me when they're not perfect either? So that spoke volumes to me. My critics have critics, and if they're perfect, then maybe I'll listen to them, but they're probably not. And so I'm just going to learn from my mistakes, acknowledge them, and move forward because I'm a human being and I acknowledge my humanness. What do you think, Christy?
Yeah, and I just after you were saying that, I think, don't you think sometimes we get so thrown into the comparison game where we get something in our head that we should, act a certain way, be a certain way, have certain strengths, have a certain personality, whatever. And we've kind of put whatever your role is, or a leader, or a mom, or a husband, or a wife, or whatever. And you think, well, I should be a certain way, but instead of stopping and gaining the awareness of, no, this is who I really am. And if I can really understand myself, and then I can really live a confident life. And I think on the next podcast, now that you're talking about this, I'm going to give you the compass for self-awareness, and I'll put the download with this podcast, so we can talk about that on
Great.
the next one. But I
Awesome.
think the one big way to gain the awareness that Rudy's talking about is you have to stop and reflect, like he's saying. Like John Maxwell says, reflection turns experience into insight. And every single time that you can stop and reflect on a situation or a circumstance or a scenario, good or bad, you can gain more awareness about yourself. Something, you fail at something and go like, okay, was I outside of my strength zone? Was I, doing this with the wrong motive? Was I surrounded by the wrong people? Like, did I just screw it up? Like what, and you gain those, you ask yourself those questions to gain that awareness. That's really how you get, I mean, I know myself very well. But every day, every week, I'm learning more and more things about myself. And all of that does is, it doesn't make me go try to fix everything that's wrong with me. It just makes me own it. And
Sure.
then I can walk confidently in that.
Right. Right. And sometimes that takes a lot of guts, right? To own it.
Yes,
So
for sure.
you know what? I just want to forget about that altogether. And that was a dumb thing that I
Hmm.
did. Let's just not bring that up again. But
Hmm.
that's how you get over it. That's how you say, okay, I acknowledge it and let me think about this and then get over it,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
and learn from it because all your experiences in life are for just that reason, so that you can learn from
Hmm.
it and grow. That's how we
Yes.
grow, right? Because if not, we're going to cower and stay back, and then there's going to be certain skills that we have that we're not going to be able to share with people, and that's kind of that's a shame because you have a lot of a lot of good value to
Hmm.
add to other people, and we know that because you're part of this group, and we
Right.
know that because you want to grow, you want to be a better person, you want to provide for your family and your friends
Mhm.
and your coworkers. So we're here to help, and we've acknowledged we make mistakes too, and but we learn from them and we move forward. All right, so that concludes this podcast. We hope you enjoyed it, and we're looking forward to seeing you again. And the clock is ticking. Make sure you register for the Six Bugle Conference, either in Perrysburg, Ohio, or La Crosse, Wisconsin. And I'm going to be at both. So how about you, Christy?
I'm going to be at both as well. So,
So look,
does the early bird end at the end of July?
August 1st. Yeah. So
August
after
1st. Okay.
August 1st, the price goes up to 297. So you save $50 if you register early. If you have any questions on that, I know there's some departments that wanted to create a PO. We were happy to provide that for you if that's easier for you. Some, would use a credit card, but if you need a PO instead, just let us know at info@the6bugle.org, and then we can provide that for you if it makes things easier,
Mhm.
right? And of course, the hotel rooms are, you can register there online after you register for the conference, and everything should be quick and easy. All
Yes.
right?
If you have any tech issues, reach out to us so we can
Yes,
fix it.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. All right. And if you're interested in
Right.
being part of our podcast, be a podcast guest. We're
Yeah, come
happy to
on.
have
We
you
need a
on.
third person up there. Y'all are like over us.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we would
yeah.
love to interview you and just talk to you. It's not a pressure thing. Listen, and we pre-record this so Rudy can edit anything out.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
cough, he edits it out. I say something, but that's the beauty of technology.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Yeah, yeah. So it's all good.
yeah.
So yeah, just reach out to us if that's what you want to do, and we'll be happy to have you on as a guest. All right. Thank you very much for joining us on this podcast, and we'll see you again soon.